All right, so I believe everyone can see my screen right there. So welcome every one of you. So in today's class, we'll be looking at an important aspect of data analytics, which is known as data modeling. So as a data analyst, you must understand data modeling. It's very important, okay? And the understanding of data modeling is going to open more ways for you. So you can actually perform different kind of tasks that you might be given to handle. So what are we going to be looking at? What we'll cover, we'll be looking at how to prepare the data. How to prepare the data. Like I said before on the various groups, I posted about the DDM, which I said has to do with the data-driven decision-making. The data-driven decision-making is very important. And I mean, as much as decision-making is an important aspect in every organization, you must know that data is at the heart of the DDM. So for that reason, for you to be a good data analyst, you must know how to model your data. Secondly, for you to be able to model your data, it begins with you understanding how to prepare your data, understanding how to model that data after you've prepared it, and understanding how to visualize and analyze that data. So once you have been able to do that, it becomes easier for you to look into other aspects like the aspect of deployment, okay, which is also very important. So time to time, we used Power BI and other data analytics tools to identify patterns and trends. And all these things are important because if you were like me, which are one of my goals is always when I'm asked in public, I always say that I want to, help businesses, help individuals develop and execute winning strategies. Definitely you should be looking on new ways you can do things here as a data analyst so as to be able to also achieve same kind of objective, okay? So you should be rest assured that at the end of this very class for today, you will be properly guided on this. And data modeling, wherever you hear data modeling, will no longer be a problem to you. So take notes as we proceed. This is key, like I said. After this very first step, which is preparing your data, then you model your data, you now be able to visualize and analyze that data. So our Power BI course here focuses on Power BI for data analytics and ensuring that at the end of the training, you are expected to go through it because this very video set, okay, that is being recorded will be sent to everyone, even those who are not available at the moment. So you can be able to practice. And trust me, we have quite a number of professionals here, and our trainings are intended for data analysts, are intended for business intelligence professionals, and also for those who just want to create reports. We have report creators who are seeking to validate their skills and knowledge in analyzing data with Power BI, and it's good for you to be familiar with how to get your data. You need to be familiar with how to model the data you've gotten, and you need to be familiar with visuals, okay? How to visual your data in Power BI desktop, as well as to share reports with other people. So it's important for you to just flow with me. And by the time you're done, then you can start sending in your questions as we proceed, which I'm going to attend to every question. So thank you very much. So right now, let's move straight to our Power BI. So for everyone, I believe at this point you've downloaded your application, Power BI, okay? It's expected in this current world, you know how to install. So once you've downloaded it, click on that file you downloaded. Then it will show you, it will bring up an administrative message that do you want to allow this application to run? You say yes. All what you just be clicking on the window that pops up is yes, next, 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 next. That's all till it will load up and successful. Then you can see this lookalike application on your system search bar. Okay, there you come to your search bar by this side. Then you type in my Power BI. So for those of you finding it difficult to get it, go to your search bar, your Google, search for https://Microsoft Power BI.com. You can see it here. : if I put my colon, I use my 2/, I say Microsoft Power BI.com. Okay, so that's just it. Microsoft Power BI.com. So I am using capital letter. So yours, try to use your small letter. Okay, and I'm powerbi.microsoft.com. So I'm going to take that again. https://powerbi.microsoft.com, and I'm sure you can see it right here. So that's the link. So when you open the link, the website opens for you. All you have to do from that website here that opens, the Power BI website, okay, opens, you come over to a section which is titled the products section. Okay, the product section. So if we are to expand this, you should see the product section. Come there, click on Power BI desktop. When you click on it, okay, it's going to bring up this download. Click on it, download, and it's going to take you to a new window where you have to do what? Go and download that what? Application. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to class. And as usual, we are going to look at something interesting. But before we start, can you see here, we have something like this. Okay, this is a report that have been created. Okay, this is a report that have been created. And you can see it's for video games, a company that releases video games from 1985 to 2018. So you can see how they build their visual, okay, showing the sales, showing different sales analysis. And just a tip, these ones are showing 2.60, 201.93 are called the cards in Power BI. They are called the cards. Okay, so we are going to look into all this and how to also do yours in this area. So let's go to our classroom. All right, so these are our Power BI. And the quick introduction, as always, Power BI is made up of different components. We have the ribbon. So the ribbon is always similar to Excel. You can see the ribbon area, which contains the file menu. If you want to import your data, you want to export your data that you have already created, and the dashboard you've already built, or your reports, you want to save, you want to set up any settings. Okay, you go to the file menu. You want to use the home ribbon. The home ribbon contains options that you will be using to perform your tasks. You will see me use them. The insert, same way. The modeling, same way too. The view, also important. So all these are important for you to take note of. Also, we have this filter section by the side, right side. So you can see you can filter your data. So filtering is a technique you can use that helps you expedite your workflow. So you'll see how all that works. We have the visualization section. So visualization is one of the building blocks in Power BI. We have what we call building blocks. Okay, they are more like the ingredients, the basic information you need to know. And it's important that in every application you're learning, you must know the basic information. Now, here's the fact. Here's the fact. The reason is because once you miss those basic information, it becomes hard for you to understand those tools. So you must know the basic information here in Power BI. So one of those basic information is what we call visualization. And you must remember that the Power BI is a data visualization application. And as you're using it, you'll be building what we call visuals. And visualization is all about you, coming up with different pictorial representation of your data. Might be in form of creating what we call dashboards that can be in interactive nature, okay, telling a story or showing or passing a message across or solving a particular problem. So for you to do your visualizations or your visuals, you must use what we call the tools, okay? The visualization tools, and those are what you're seeing all over here. The stack bar chart, the pie chart, the donuts chart, the matrix, the table, the slicer, and so on, the maps. So we have the field section. The field section contains the data you want to analyze. So by the time we have imported our data, they will fall under field section. Then we have what we call the report. So the report is one of the building blocks. So the report is a collection of your dashboards, of single dashboards. Okay, so now if you look in here on the screen, you see where we have add data to your report. This section, we call it the canvas. Okay, and that's where we build our dashboard. So you must take note of this. Forget about So forget about these very ones you can see right here. Okay, these import data from Excel and other sub um, descriptions. You don't really need them. There are shortcuts on how you can, get your data. But I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, from your home tab. That's where you go and get your data. Of course, you can see from home tab, we have get data. So if you click on that drop down, those same options that are listed here are also there. And that's the best place to go. So this section where you will be creating your dashboard through these different visualization tools is what we call the canvas or dashboard. Now, if you look below, you will see we have page 1, meaning that you can also go down and click on this plus sign to add page 2. I know this is similar to Excel. In Excel, we have, you being able to create new sheets within one or same workbook. So same way Power BI follows that pattern. So a collection of more than one dashboards or a collection of a group of dashboards is known as a report. So if, for example, we build a dashboard here using different visualization tools, that becomes what? A report. So know the difference between a report and a dashboard. A dashboard is the single one you did. A report is a collection. So that's for that. That's also a building block for us. Take note of. Then we have what we call data set. Data set is also a building block. Whatever tasks you're running or you're going to do as a data analyst, you must use a data set. And your data sets will be in different data sources. Data sources is where is the data kept? Where is the data coming from? And you must know that data is the heart of all you're doing. And we all know that data is everywhere. So your data could be in Excel format, which is the common one we know. Okay, data is just those raw information you prepared. For example, maybe you're a teacher in a school or you're an admin in your school, in a school, and you decided to collect and prepare information for students who have not yet paid school fees. That becomes a data. Those information you're taking becomes a data where you go to your Excel sheet or to SQL and start building, that report whereby you can be able to the column for names of students, the amounts owed, date owed, and so on. That becomes what we call a database, because you're now creating a database to capture those information. So you must know that at that point, you're preparing a data set, and that data set is already in a raw form. It's in a raw form. That's why I talked about the process of transformation, that you must transform those data to be able to derive insight from it and make better decisions for your organization. And you should know that the data analyst organization should be relying on those information you'll be providing. And this is why data modeling is important. And I'm going to tell you other things you need to know. So as I was saying, the data set is a building block you must understand. So also, if you look at the left here, we have report tab. So this is the report section. That's where we are. Like I said, you use the report section to create your reports, to build your dashboards. Then below, we have the data tab. Now, the data tab works this way. It shows you the data you are analyzing, which means that once you bring your data here, you must make sure once you've imported your data to Power BI, first thing you need to do, come to your data tab. When you come there, come and check the data you've imported to be sure that it's actually correct and in order. And you must always have at the back of your mind what we refer to data management. You must check if there are possible errors, which in our classes, you will be guided on those ones concerning the possible errors. You can write them down. Error number 1 is blank, issues of blank. When there are blank spaces in your data set, it's an error that you should not leave alone when you're working here. Okay, so always take note of that issue of blank. I'm trying to bring up my Excel that I'm going to show you how bad, okay, blanks can be when you're working in as a data analyst. So as a data analyst, always make sure that you tackle that issue. Whatever data set you're given to handle, check that data to make sure there is no blank spaces within that data. So what do I mean by that blank of an issue, which I said is a good one for you to always watch out, look out for. If, for example, let's say we have name of students, like we talked about, who are owing us. Let's say the name of this school is PT Group of Schools. This PT Group of Schools. Okay. Now, say PT Group of Schools, and this record of school debtors. So we'll now come here and say we have first person, Femi Adebayo. Maybe before that, definitely we should have a column, okay, for to insert name, to insert a name, what we call title column. So you must always ensure you insert a title column when you're using your Excel to prepare your database for those informations. So I will come over here. As I highlighted it, even there are two ways you can enter a new row. Okay, so you must understand that this is a column in Excel and this is a row. Okay, so to enter a new one, either you highlight where you want to insert, because I want a row between record of school debtors and this I cannot just put that information like that. So to do that, what do I need to do? If instead I can either I right click and click on insert, you can see it's inserted a new row that I'm looking for. Or I'll come over to this cell group, still on Excel, the home ribbon, this cell group, you'll see this insert. This insert sheets rows for you. That's the purpose of this insert. It inserts sheet rows for you. It inserts sheet rows for you. So we should not be ignoring all this. With that insert, you don't even need to highlight where you want to insert. You don't even need it. You can see I don't need to highlight anywhere. I've known that from here. Just put your cursor that place. Come to insert, click on insert sheet rows. It will insert it for you. If it's a column you want to put, from this part where you are, you know where you want your column to be. Put insert column, it will insert it for you. So it becomes easier when you understand how to use all these tools. And you can see it's also similar. Look at the page in Power BI. Here it's called sheets. So it's also important. So we say we have names. We have school fees owed, amount of school fees owed, school fees owed. So let's quickly format this. So I'm just going to, I've told you, each time you're entering a particular data, I notice that it's too long and it's moving into another cells. What do? Highlight every information, double click by the side. It's going to impute everything for you. Then TT group of schools is like the header. Okay, the header. So what do? Highlight it, use what we call your merge and center, your merge tool, and it's going to merge it perfectly. Either you merge across or you want it to be centralized, merge and center, it's going to merge it for you. So you can also increase this. And as data analyst, make sure your color field is accurate. So you must always work with the corporate color of that organization to avoid mixing up colors. So you can see we have student record of school debtors, and here could be our S/N name school fees code. So what am I going to do here, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to select this, okay, and bold this. So this process is this database already creating for the school. Okay, so I can highlight this and double click. So you can see we have for Femi, we say what's Femi school fees. We said 20,000 naira, or 200,000 is what is owing. We have number 2 person for who? Peter Paul. So how much is Peter Paul owing? Peter Paul is owing us for 2 times, so owing us 120,000. Okay. Now, remember we came here because of issue of blank, which I said is one error you must take note of. So now, TY is important. Okay. As data analyst, always check your data for blank. So let's imagine on number 3. Okay. The person's name was Amaka Ifeanyi. Now, Amaka Ifeanyi is owing us 300,000. Okay, of course, you can format all this and put your comma sign to show currency formats. Okay, more of formatting your currency. So I can actually do that through this number format section. I can go and put that. So we say that this is for Femi Adebayo and this is for Peter Paul. But now there is an issue. If you look at this data, you can see that it's complete. Okay, all informations here are complete. But it will shock you to know that to excel, Excel only captures Femi Adebayo and Peter Paul. Why? Because of blank space. So blank spaces is an issue you must always check in your data. How do I know this? If, for example, we say we have up to like 4,000 students in the school and want to filter out all those students using the filtering tool that I showed you also that is available in Power BI. There is also a powerful tool from the report section, filter. Okay, you can see we have filters. So if I want to filter, because it's important to filter, I want to filter those, you can filter based on those owing above 100,000. That's when you're filtering based on certain criteria. Okay, I'm not talking about database functions here. Don't to confuse some of you. Okay, but now I'm drawing your attention to something interesting as far as data management is concerned. That with this blank space here, Excel is going to assume that your data stops here in row 6 where we have Peter Paul. How do I know this? If I should come, also match this record of school debt and debtors, match it center. Then also put a color so you can actually be perfect. Okay. Okay. All right. So if I should come now and say I want to filter this, okay. Now, how do you filter? Sometimes we would want to just go straight, okay, to our data tab. So that's one way to do that. You can go to your data tab. If you want to filter, come to filter. When you click on it, it's going to, select the possible detailed information that you actually want to filter, which select, highlight, and do what? First of all, highlight what I want to filter, that title column, and title row headers. Then I click on filter. If I don't want to go to data tab to do that, I can select it, come over here to my editing group under main editing group. You see here we have sort and filter. When you click on it, you still see filter. So you can see I've unfiltered it. I want to filter it. I can just highlight it, then come here and say filter. I've filtered it. So now let's filter all the names of students owing us. When I click on filter names, what do you notice? It's showing me only Femi Adebayo and Peter Paul. There is no Amaka here. Meanwhile, in our spreadsheet, Amaka is there. So that's what happens when there is blank spaces. Blank spaces signifies that there is an end within your data set. So imagine a company relied on information you're going to provide to them to be able to invest in a new plant next month or next 3 months. Like, is the information they give to you to analyze that we enable them pump in like 50 million in that project they want to handle. And you didn't know. You went and ran your analysis. You didn't check if there was any blank spaces. To you, you did your job. But no, there are some information that are already outside, which Excel or even Power BI did not even put into consideration. And you must work with your data complete, because when we are talking about data analytics, all of these applications must be able to do what? Run your analysis completely, meaning that no data should be exempted and without what? Errors. So it's very important here. So you must look for those blank spaces, please, and please. Because if I click on that tab, just look at, meaning that if I have other persons, it means that it will not capture it in my analysis, even I'm using my pivot and others. So it's not a good one. So always check for that. So how do you check for that? I always take it in classes. To do that, highlight the whole data that you have. Okay, if it's from here, use your Control Shift down arrow. It's a shortcut method. Or use your cursor. If I use Control Shift, I can highlight. This is just what I want you to do. Highlight the whole data set. Control Shift down arrow, it is highlighted down and everywhere. Then what do? You can then come to this editing group. When you come to editing group, you see how we have find and select in your Excel. Make sure you've highlighted the data first. Go to that find and select. Select what we call go to special. Click on go to special. It's going to bring this box for you, this window. When it brings it, click on what? Blanks. Because now this go to special is a command section. So you want to give a command that please go and look for all the blank spaces in the file for me. So if you say blanks, in those data sets, big data set, Excel is going to locate all the blanks. Yours is just to go and click color. So all the blanks in your data are going to be selected like this around your data. So you will now have to remove this data. So how do you remove it? You can come to delete under group cells. When you come to delete, just click on delete sheet rows. It's going to delete all the blank spaces for you. If you don't want to use that method of deleting, just click on control minus. Hold your control key and your minus sign. You know your minus sign are plus, minus, control minus. It will bring this. Yes, say yes, I want to delete all the entire rows that are blank, that are selected. So whichever is perfect for you, you do it. So ladies and gentlemen, data management is important, and the blanks is one error you should always avoid. So this is just an example of what I'm talking about, okay? So if, for example, we imported this data that I've just created now for this school debtors, we imported this data, okay? Yeah, we created this data and want to import it over here. Where will it come to? It will appear first of all under fields section. So fields show you what you've imported, okay? If you've loaded any data into Power BI, it comes under field. Then, if you want to look at that data, go to what? Data view. I call this data view. That should be the best word for it. So go to your data view and do what? View that data. Okay? When you view it, if there is errors, you now do what we call data cleaning. And that's why you must know that in analytics, there are 5 steps, 5 life cycles. Understanding the problem, number 1. Number 2, what? Understanding the data. There must be data given to you in raw form. You must understand it. It's the process of understanding it that aids us to be able to identify the gaps, the errors in that data. And that's what we did. Now, when you've identified that there are missing information in your data, what is the next step? Step number 3, cleaning. You now clean your data. That's the part of preparation. And to clean your data here, you use what we call the Power Query. So from Excel, it's accessible from data. You see where we have Power Query. And I've told you, if you want to use the Power Query, just come, click on Data tab, come under where we have New Query, click on it. You will see different options. So if your data have not been loaded yet, you can use from File. Then you go and select the Excel workbook where it was loaded. If it's from a database, like the SQL, which we'll cover in this training, Oracle database, and so on, you also be able, if it's from your website, you also be able to do that, okay? So there are different terms for all this. So it's the data view that you must view. Then for Power BI, to access that Power Query I just showed you in Excel, in this data view, you will see it here, where we have queries. You can see transform data. So another name for the Power Query is called the transformer. Transform data, and it is the processing engine of the Power BI for cleaning your data. Then once you're done with viewing your data, you now come to create relationships. That's why in the life cycle, you always hear me say data modeling. Model your data. By that, we are talking about you being able to build what we call predictive models. So you must be able to create relationships between your data sets so that they can actually work hand in hand. And, it enhance and optimize, how your analysis is going to work and look like. Okay, so you must come to this model section and create what we call relationships. So imagine we have a company, okay, an oil and gas company, and on this very first column here, we contain information for our different products and the locations where our depot is. And this other side has dates. This other side has another information like the customers. You can create relationships between them. And there are different ways you can actually do that. So ladies and gentlemen, this is important for you to take note of. So moving forward, after understanding this, now to practice the aspect of data model, which we talked about, that involves you being able to look into these key areas. We talked about how to prepare the data, and I've just showed you. To prepare the data is an easy one. You use the Power Query to do that. And in our classes, we always back you up with our prepared videos that have already been taken care of. Okay. So how to model the data is also what we'll be looking, and also visualizing and analyzing the data is also what we'll be looking. So trust me, it's going to be one of those things, exposure you're going to have here in the Power BI. Okay, so moving forward, in Power BI, your first step begins with bringing your data here. Now, a lot of teachers will teach you that the common way is to go and get your data from Excel. No, Excel is not the only data source. After the data source is where your data is kept. Excel is not the only data source. We have different data sources. So let's say there is this superstore, okay, that sells different grocery and other kind of products, and we're interested, okay, in getting those informations for their product. Maybe we too want to run analysis to see how we can open such kind of business type. You don't need to go and meet them that please give me information about your product type and so on. No, with the Power BI get data section here, you can do what? You can scroll down and select that data source, because at that point they have a website, isn't it? Meaning that you can go to and access a website and get information or data you want from that website. So that should be one you should know. Okay. So how do you do that? Go to your get data. I told you it begins with getting your data. So go to get data. Now, when you reach this get data section, come to where? So this is how to import a data set. Actually, data set contains data that have been prepared already. If it's Excel, now this becomes a data set. So to get a data set from the website, from the web, internet, come to get data. Whichever way, either you click on it here so that it can bring the main complete full screen for you to see. But the main fact remains, come to get data and click on get data. You can see the get data brings up this window for you. Select for that, look for that data source. It's on what? Online services. So come to online service. You can scroll down and look for web. Or what you can do also, you can come to all. You can see different online services have been popped up for you. So you can come to all. You can also see other different data sources that are also available. So if you don't want to go to each of them individually, okay, if you don't want to go, you have others here. If you don't want to go to them individually, you can just cancel this page. You come to your get data, this drop down option, instead of clicking on the main cylinder here, you come down and select web. Now, once you select web, it's going to bring a new screen for you. So on this screen, you're going to enter those information. So make sure that your internet is connected when you want to access information, import data from the website. So I can come here now and say, okay, I want to get their information. So I say HTTP, please. Make sure you have gotten their URL, okay? The URL link / raw dot git hub user contents .com / Quran. That's the name. Say Quran. Okay. / data. And to get Quran data / gh pages. When you're practicing, please also access it through this / superstore. Quran superstore. Superstore sales / superstore sales .csv. So once you're done with that, what do you then do? Come and click on OK. So once you click on OK, if provided you enter that link correctly, you will observe that Power BI will try to access it. You can see it's telling me to wait, that please, Mr. Williams, wait, let's look for it for you. And we did not even count up to 3. You can see it pops it up. Okay, so this the beautiful thing about a BI application, which is used for business intelligence. You can access anywhere you want it to. So you can see right here, ladies and gentlemen, we have the different order quantity for this company's product report. You can see their sales, you can see the discounts given, you can see their profits for their products, the shipping cost, the customer name, and other information. Okay, you can see their product container. You can see how we access all this information as of today, Monday, January 16, 2023. So what's now happened? Now you must know this. Once you have gotten your data like this, okay, we have the delimiter. It's used comma. How do you want to separate some terms in order for them not to be joined? You can just leave all that. Now, once you have imported your data, if you look below, this window, we call it the navigator window. Okay, it's the purpose is to give you a preview of what you're actually bringing up. Now, if you look below, you see we have load, we have transform data. Forget about this extract table using examples. We have load transform. Transform data is called what? Power query. Let's say we have checked this data, we found one or two errors or blanks. We want to go and fill it, remove the blank, or want to clear the error. What do? Who can tell me? Correct. We use the transform data to go and access the Power Query to do that. But now this data is structured. Okay, must know what we call structured and unstructured data. This data is structured, means it's in order. So we'll just load it. So if I am clicking on load, it means that I want Power BI to bring this data here. And since I've loaded it, where will this data go to? It will go to the field section. So watch, you observe that as it's loading, the field is also doing what? Something is happening to that field section. So ladies and gentlemen, I believe you're gaining something. I believe we are learning together. So this is the beginning on how to access your data from a web source when you're working there with Power BI. So you can see how we were able to capture that company's superstore sales from their website without them knowing. We have gotten the information. So whatever company you might want to also just try to get their website URL link to them, that particular section that contains those information. And trust me, it will be captured. So this is a big data set. You can see 8399 information have been captured. So like I was saying, the field section is still loading, but I told you, aside the field section, once your data have been imported, where do you go and view your data? You go to the data view, and this is the data view. So if I go to the data view, it's going to show me all those data that have been imported into Power BI. So you can see all of them here. But now it's not showing fully. Why? It wants you to go and click on it. But without clicking, you can see it has popped them up. So these are all the data. And this is what we call big data because it's more than 500. It's even more than 5,000. So imagine that kind of information. Okay, it's more than 5,000. This is a big one. So if you come back to the report view, under fields, you now see fields have prepared it for us, have cooked it for us. So if you click on this VLOOKALIKE, it's broken down to different sections, my God. And even solving issues like this involve what we call the DAX. And these are things I want you to prepare your mind for. These are advanced Power BI. And I want you to prepare your mind for these things because it's very and very important. So ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about data modeling. Data modeling. And we said the first thing you need to have in your mind is how to prepare the data. We have just prepared it, we have just imported it. Now let's go straight to model that data. Now, to do that quickly, we're going to do that in the next 4 minutes. So to do that, you come over to this section we call, after data view, we have model. So come to model. When you come to model, what do you notice? You notice that this is just in one column. So this is what we call a single data model because all those informations are in one column. And there's no need of creating relationships for this because they are already prepared, in a single way in one column. So there are situations where you're working with data sets that are in different sheets. Let's say you have those data in sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, sheet 5. You must create relationships. Okay, but that data signifies the fact that that information is just in one sheet. That's why it's shown that very way. So we cannot create relationships with that since it's a single one. So I will leave you with this to practice. Then in your next meeting, we'll be creating with that. But before I leave you, you must know this, that a proper data model is the foundation of meaningful analytics. Okay, and Power BI data model here, which you can see, is a collection of one or more tables, but this is just one tables. But what it actually represents collection of more than one tables, which I often refer to relationships. So a well-designed data model enables those users of the information you'll be providing, okay, could be the business users and so on, management, to understand and explore their data and also derive insight from it. So this is a step that you should always take before you create visuals. By creating visuals, which I put down there, okay, how to visualize and analyze the data. By creating visuals, it's a simple one, which I'm going to touch now, okay? But before you always do that, make sure you go and do what? Load your data and define the relationships between those different tables. And you do that from here, okay, from here. So you must know that data modeling occurs at the beginning phase of building a Power BI report so that you can create efficient measures that build upon your data model. So for our next class, I'll be sending a data set to you all, and we're going to follow the 4 important ways you can create relationships between your data. And they include, the first thing you need to do, if, for example, you're seeing your data and they are in separate columns here, okay, you first of all design a data model, then you develop a data model for it, then you create model calculations by using the DAX, and before then, you're not looking to optimizing what is known as your model performance. So to complete this section, now how to visualize and analyze the data is a simple one. If, for example, we have regions, want to know the region, that's the countries with profits, that made the highest profits. What do? I can go and click on the stack bar chart visual tool here. It brings this tile. So this is what we call a tile. It's movable and it can be dragged. Then what do? I'll drag the region into it, and that goes straight ahead to one of our y-axis. Then I'll drag profits into it. If I don't want to use the dragging method, I can just click on it. Once I do it, it's going to track that information. So yeah, we have the number of countries and their profits. You can see, or the regions. This is Canada. We're focusing this company that we just assessed is in Canada. So you can see for Canada, Ontario have the highest profit, followed by Prairie, followed by West, followed by Atlantic, followed by Quebec, followed by Northwest Territories, followed by Yukon, and the last was Monaco. So this is just how to start building your visuals. And we can also say, okay, let's get the product. Let's see the product with the highest sales as well. So same way I can go and use another. I can use something like the donut style here. And the donut style, I can also expand the donut style, and I select the product name. Okay, if I click on the product name, it goes in there, and I say it's here all the products, the names of the product. I want to know the product with the sales. So what do? I'll then select sales. So you can see it's going to capture it for me in a donut format. Okay, so you can see all products and their different sales. Okay, all products and their different sales. But this is looking too much. The products are too much. So instead, you can use the matrix and change your tile to matrix or table visual, or like that's table visual the way it is in Excel. So you can see it's product 1 and the total sales. You can also change it to your matrix, product 1 and the matrix, product 2 and the matrix. So you can see how they are being displayed. But one better way you can actually represent this information, you can decide to use your funnel visual tool. Okay, you can see how they are being structured. Okay, you can see, but that's not the best way. So most times we advise you use the cluster column chart to actually present that information. So you can see the highest product was which products. You go close to that bar is global Troy executive leather roll back filter. That's the highest. So if I have to minimize this, okay, maybe I want to reduce that of region. It's too much expanded. So I say let me try to minimize it. And let me minimize this very one as well here. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, you agree with me here that we have sum of sales by product's name, the total sales by product name, and we have sum of profits. So if, for example, we want to know this product called Global Troy, which countries did it perform most? If I will just click on that bar, and when I click on that bar, it sends a message immediately, and you can see it's going to make changes immediately. So you can see that for Ontario, it's still loading. Ontario, you can see in Ontario, we have the highlighted view and the full view. So out of the profit we make is the highlighted. We made 25 million 25,761.09 from Ontario alone for this product. For prayer, we did not sell any. For Atlantic, it was low. For prayer, it was low 915. For Northwest, none. And from there, the company can start making efforts. Okay, so let's add them to me. This is where we're going to stop in this data modeling class. So always remember what I've just talked about. Okay, that you must design a model by focusing your attention on tables and their relationships. And we're going to continue and I'll be introducing you to different tables and design data model that uses what we call different schemas. And we have different type of schemas. We have the flat schema, the star schema, and the snowflake schema. And all these are very important for you because you need to understand them to be able to go far in this field. So thank you very much. So my name is Williams, and please watch and practice with the data set. Access it also online. Thank you, and have a good night rest.